Alicia here. Welcome to your yoga class. Today's class is going to be rainy day yoga. It's going to be chill, it's going to be gentle, it's going to be cozy, and we're just going to really soak in and enjoy the rain as we practice yoga. And this is a really inspired class. I was actually going to teach a completely different one, and then it started pouring again, and I was like, you know what, I'm really feeling this. Like, I even dressed in gray so that I could match the weather, because at first when I thought about it this morning, I was like, I want to do rainy day yoga. And I was like, I don't know what that looks like, but I really want to do it. So, just taking that inspired action. And to add to the coziness of this, and you might want to join me in this, I've lit 3 candles. You don't need to do 3. You don't need to do any if you don't want. I love working with fire, with candles. And so I lit 3 candles, put them on this beautiful candle holder, set 3 different intentions for each one. And so we're going to be incorporating the element of fire as well as the element of rain. And of course, that's only if you want to join me. And if you're like, I don't have any candles, you can pause the video and just, energy doesn't care about time or space. So you can pause the video, you can use my candles if you want, and you can meditate on each flame and set 3 different intentions of your own. So if you want to go ahead and do that real quick, please do it. All you'll need for this class is yourself, making sure you're wearing something comfy and cozy. If it wasn't summer in Arizona, I'd be in a sweatshirt. But it's hot. It's humid. And if you want blacks, you won't necessarily need them, but if you like to work with them to give yourself a little bit of length and support, then grab them. Otherwise, make yourself as comfy as possible. Grab a pillow, grab a blanket that you can fold up, just to give yourself some extra cushion, some extra support. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna go grab that really quick. Okay, sweet, I got my handy dandy pillow. We're just gonna make this cozy and comfy, all right? And just soak in this weather, because y'all, in Arizona, in the desert, it doesn't rain that much, and when it does, I like to soak it in. All right, so let's cultivate a little bit of mindfulness. You can start in any position you want, whether you want to do cross-legged, crisscross applesauce, sukhasana, or you want to sit on your knees, you want to go into a child's pose. Just choose. Maybe you want to sit up on your pillow. That actually sounds like a good idea. Just get comfy. Close the eyes. You can have your palms up for more of a receptive vibe, more of a receiving energy, or you can have them face down for more of a grounded feeling. Palms up is also more of an uplifted vibe, so totally up to you. Yogi's choice. Close the eyes and turn your attention to your breath. And you don't need to control the breath quite yet. You might notice that as you bring your attention to your breath, you start to automatically lengthen the breath, deepen it. Not necessarily, but it's a common thing. So just notice what the breath is doing. Notice if it's getting stuck anywhere in the body. Notice if it's more on the shallow side, or maybe it's a little bit more expansive. Try not to judge it, just notice what's going on. And then I want you to take a moment to now tune in with the rain. Maybe it's not raining where you live and you just want it to be raining. So you're like, I'm going to do rainy day yoga. I'm just going to pretend like it's raining. And that's totally chill. Your mind's eye doesn't know the difference between what's happening in meditation versus what is happening before your physical eyes and experience. Your brain is thinks it's happening. So tune in with the rain. Real or imagined. And just focus on the sound that it's making. Notice how hard it's raining. Maybe it's raining super hard, like thunderstorming. It's like an angry rain. It doesn't have to be angry, but you know what I mean, like a really intense rain. Maybe the rain is starting to slow down a little bit. Maybe it's at a soft trickle. Maybe it's barely spitting, just sprinkling. Maybe it's somewhere in the middle at a constant, steady rate. Just notice what the rain is doing. And notice how easy it is to accept what the rain is doing. And maybe it's not for you. Maybe you're like, man, I really don't want it to be raining. Man, this is ruining my plans, or something like that. And that's, that's valid. And how can you cultivate a little bit of non-judgmentalness toward the rain? It just is. It's just happening. You have no control over the rain. That is universal forces at play. Just meditating on the rain a little bit longer. I personally find the sound of rain to be so soothing and comforting, and maybe you do too. So allow that comfort. And be totally present for it. The rain, even if it's potentially ruining a plan that you had later, everything in life is happening for you, not to you. So how can you enjoy what's happening right now? And just really soak it in. Depending on how you look at it, the rain can totally be a gift. It's so cleansing. And so is fire. So speaking of that fire, just remember the intentions that you set with your own candle at home. And maybe you didn't have a candle. Maybe you just paused me and set some intentions using my candles. Or maybe you were like, girl, I don't feel like it. So you didn't do that. That's cool too. If you haven't set an intention, you don't necessarily need a candle at all, ever, to set an intention. You have intentions when you do most things. Well, maybe. But go ahead and set an intention now if you haven't. And if you have, call those intentions into your mind. And just repeat them into your mind. Bring them into your mind's eye. What does it look like to obtain the intention? What does living by that intention, even if it's just for the next hour or so, what does that look like for you? Beautiful. Let's get our bodies moving. So when you feel ready, actually start to deepen the breath. Start to engage that Ujjayi breath. And when you feel ready, gently, slowly open up the eyes. If you are on your knees or if you are in child's pose, go ahead and join us in a crisscross applesauce, Sukhasana. Let's start to move the body. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, take a stretch over to the right. Left arm comes up overhead. Right elbow goes towards mat. Right hand is on the mat. Keep your left sit bone down on the mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, take a stretch over to the left. Keep that right sit bone down on the mat. You might hear some creaks in the cracks in the body as your body starts to wake itself up. Unless you've already been doing all the things. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, take a twist over to the right. Left, wrist comes to the outside edge of the right thigh. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, take a twist over to the left. Right arm comes to the outside edge of the left thigh. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, make your way into a child's pose. And you're just going to chill there for a second. So knees wide, feet together, bum back, hands stretch forward. And just chill here for a moment. I'm going to relight one of my candles. It has gone out if I can. It's kind of resting in the wax. It's a little wet. We'll see what we can do. We shall see what we can do. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. All better. Eat these fixed. Y'all are over there setting some powerful intentions. I can feel it. All right. Start to walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. Reach the left hand over the right. Interlace the fingers. Deepening that side stretch in the left. Yet again, just in a little bit of a different way. Inhale, arms come forward onto the mat, and then walk the arms over to the left. Cross right hand over left, interlace fingers, and invite a stretch into the right side of body. Inhale, walk the hands forward onto the mat. Bring the upper body up. And we're going to take it into a puppy pose. So keep the arms forward on the mat, forward in front of your shoulders. Knees are underneath the hips. Walk hands a little bit more forward as you sink the heart down towards the mat. Make sure you're engaging that Ujjayi breath. Inhale, bring the arms back up. And then stretch the, let's see, for some reason I'm feeling called to do a lot of side stretches. It's cool, we're gonna go with it. Stretch the right leg back. Keep the left knee where it is. You can pivot that left shin and foot out just a little bit towards the outside edge of your mat and reach the right arm up overhead, getting a nice big, again, right side stretch. You can open up the arm here and open up the chest now to the sky. Inhale, bring that right knee back in. Exhale, thread the needle. Right arm goes underneath the left. You can keep your left hand here on the mat. You can walk it forward, or you can bring it up and behind you. You can, if you're bringing it up, back, and behind, clasp that right inner thigh with the left hand. Inhale, left arm up. Bring left hand back down to the ground. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, right hand down. Let's do the other side. Inhale, reach the left leg back. As you reach left arm up overhead, you can pivot that right foot back behind you just a little bit. Keep that right knee where it is. Getting a nice big left side stretch in the body. If you can see the rain, you can see the clouds, just take a moment to appreciate them from where you're at. Maybe you're not where you can have windows, and that's okay too. Maybe you can just hear the rain. And just take a moment to appreciate it. Open up the arm to back behind you to open up the chest, open up the heart towards the sky, towards the rain. Even though maybe you're not practicing in the rain, that's okay. And just imagine, though, that those raindrops are falling down onto you and into your heart, cleansing your heart, cleansing your mind, cleansing your body. Inhale, bring left knee back to, well, not all fours. We're kind of in a three position here. And then thread the needle. Bring left arm underneath the right. Bring left shoulder down to mat. And take the same arm variation that you did on the opposite side. If you're bringing the right arm up, back, and behind, tuck that right hand onto the inside edge of that left inner thigh. Opening up the heart again, as much as you can, taking a twist here, up to the sky. Inhale, bring right hand up, bring it back down to the mat. Unwind, bringing left arm up, open heart up to the sky. One more time. And then bring left hand down to the mat. Let's take some cat and cows here. Inhale, lift the chest, arch the spine, drop the belly, stretch in the belly, and exhale. Take it into cat. As you round the spine, bring belly button to spine and drop the gaze. Make sure hands are under shoulders, knees are under hips. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Tuck the toes. Just find stillness for just a moment in the body. And then tuck the toes. You can walk the hands forward just a little bit as you start to bring the hips up and back into Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Start to walk out the feet, bending one knee and then the other. You can play around here if you want to shift your hips from right to left. And then when you feel ready, you can start to find some stillness. Start to work the knees towards straight, but if they don't quite reach straight, that's okay. You can keep a soft bend in the knees. Start to try to work those heels toward the mat. And again, if they don't quite reach, totally okay. You're exactly where you're meant to be. Just as you cultivated some non-judgmentalness earlier for the rain, see if you can afford yourself that same luxury. Because again, you're exactly where you're meant to be. All right, stillness. Again, just tune in with the rain really quick. Listen to the sounds of the rain. Maybe it stopped raining where you are, and that's okay. Just notice anything you want. Maybe you notice how it's really quiet outside. Maybe all of the animals, all of the birds, they're at home. Maybe there's still a soft trickle. Maybe it's still pouring. Just notice what you hear. And imagine that the rain is symbolically cleansing you as you do this yoga. And maybe you've got a candle going on somewhere near you, and that candle, that fire, is also transmuting any unwanted energy, allowing for your intentions to be set forth and to be given the energy that they require to come into your reality. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze comes forward between the hands. And start to slowly make your way to the top of the mat, stepping one foot and then the other, really milking this. Keep feet wide on the mat, a little bit wider than hips width apart. Hips width is going to be 2 fists away from each other, so it's going to be wider than that. And then just let yourself dangle here for a moment. You can grab onto opposite elbows and swing from left to right. And just as the rain is cleansing you and the fire is cleansing you, you can cleanse yourself. You just imagine that you're just shaking everything out. You can even shake your booty a little bit here, shake your elbows, and imagine that everything that you are ready to release is just falling out of your head and onto your mat, which is your compost bin. It composts everything for you. It transmutes everything for you. Inhale, bring hands to shins. Come up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Gaze is forward onto the mat. Spine is straight. Bring belly button in towards spine. Slight bend, micro bend in the knees, and exhale. Forward fold. Heel toe the feet in towards one another. Bring a generous bend into the knees. And slowly start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. And as you reach your shoulders roll up, back and down, which initiates the crown of the head to start to roll up. Bring palms forward, facing forward on your mat. Stand tall. Bring chin to be parallel with your mat. Back of the head is slightly up and back. Tadasana. Check in with your intentions for just a moment. Inhale, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. Spine is straight, arms circle down to the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. And step the left leg back. Slowly, gently drop the left knee down to the mat and inhale, sweep the arms forward. Up overhead, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Make sure you're not sinking in too much here. Keep it pretty strong. It's still pretty chill, but you're getting a nice stretch into that left hamstring, or not the left hamstring, the left hip flexor. Maybe a little bit into that left quad, a little bit into the groin. You can bring your hands, fold them, and bring them on top of your right knee. And then bring the hands to the inside edge of that right foot as you heel toe out the right foot over to the right side of the mat. You can bring the toes to face the outside of the mat. So you're just pivoting that foot just a little bit. Bring right hand to the right knee and take a gentle twist over to the right, opening up the heart towards the sky. You can even think about pushing away the knee away from your body. Just make sure that the knee is in line with the toes. If you'd like, you can untwist and you can bring your hands down to lizard. Or if you want, you can bend that left knee and hug that left foot in towards the bum. And if you need a little, if you can't quite, this is optional, right? These are all options. So do what feels best for your body. If you can't quite reach that left foot, you can always wrap a towel, a sweater, a belt, a strap, anything you got nearby that won't rip. And you can hug that foot in and just create length with that towel or prop or whatever it is you're using. And then gently bring the left foot back down toward the mat. And you're gonna bring that right foot toward heel toe that left, or the right foot toward the left hand. Drop the right knee down towards the right hand. Straighten that left knee as you bring yourself into Kapotasana, pigeon pose. If you want or need, this is where a prop can come in handy. If your right hip is up off of the mat, you can place a pillow underneath your right hip. You can place a block, a folded blanket. And of course, if, you can work your shin toward being parallel with the front edge of your mat, but if that's too intense on the knee, just bring the right heel in towards the left hip. You can stay up, or you can bring your elbows down to the mat. Option to bring your head down to the mat by folding palms. You can rest the head onto the hands. You can also bring the arms forward onto the mat. Make sure not to knock over your candles. And lay the head down, bring the arms forward, have palms up towards sky, and away in a receptive pose. I am ready to receive whatever the rain is ready to give, whatever the universe is ready to give me, whatever I am ready to receive in terms of anything, really. Maybe a blessing, knowledge, an understanding, the intention that you have set forth. Start to walk yourself back up. And we're going to just switch it on the mat. So actually, let's just take some quick windshield wipers. So you're just going to pivot. You're going to pivot. You know what? We're just rolling with this. So I'm just feeling, I'm making a decision. Don't mind me. Okay, so let's actually take a 90-90. So you're gonna just scoot your hips back just a little bit. So if you saw that, boop, I just scooted my hips back, and then I took 90 degrees with both legs. So back leg, 90, like little boxes. It almost looks like a swastika. And then just take a stretch over to the right. Your left hand can be on the mat, or it can be on your left calf. I'm just feeling the side stretches today. Super chill. Make sure you're still breathing. Make sure you're still doing that Ujjayi breath. You should be feeling a little bit of a stretch into that left groin. Inhale, come up. And then take a windshield wiper. So you're going to keep the heels where they are and just drop the knees over to the left. And then over to the right. Over to the left. To the right. And then back over to the left. And you're going to take that swastika, the 90-90, on the right side. Or, excuse me, on the left side. The knees are, knees are facing the left, the back of the mat. Inhale, left arm comes up. Exhale, take a side stretch. And you might notice that one hip flexor, one side of your groin is a little bit more tight. And that's okay, totally normal. Inhale, left arm up. And then you're going to make your way into pigeon. So you're just going to push your hips forward and then extend the right leg back. Kapotasana on the left side. Make any adjustments you need. If you need to prop that hip onto a pillow, onto a block, go for it. If you need to shift that heel in towards your right hip, go for it. And then again, take the same variation you did on the other side. So if you brought your elbows down, bring them down. If you brought your third eye to the mat, bring it down. Or if you brought your arms forward, third eye, forehead down to the mat, do so. My left hand is a little stunted by the wall here, but it's okay. We're going to work with it anyway. Inhale, start to bring yourself up if you are down on the mat. And then start to bring your weight onto the outside edge of that left foot. And then heel toe that left foot out towards the left, towards the outside edge of that left hand. You're going to bring the toes, pivot them out to the left side edge of the mat. Bring left hand to left knee. And take a twist over to the left. You might even want to push out that left knee toward the wall. And I could have demonstrated this a little bit more clearly on the other side, hopefully. Here, I'll just face the camera really quick so you can see. So I'm just pushing away that knee gently, but making sure that that left knee is still in line. It's going in the same direction as those toes. And again, you have the option here to stay where you're at. You can bring elbows down to the mat for lizard pose. Or you can bend the right knee and hug that right foot in towards the bum. If you've got that right foot in towards your bum, you can slowly start to bring right foot back down to the mat. You're going to heel toe in the left foot toward the center, not all the way on the center. Your legs are still on different train tracks or different skis, if you will. And then fold the hands, bring the hands to the top of the knee for a low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Not the full expression, our arms aren't up, but they will be shortly. And then inhale, extend the arms up overhead. Make sure you're not sinking here. Make sure there's still some strength here in the legs, but you're still feeling that stretch. Right, going down that right hip, down into the right upper leg. Even a little bit into the inside of that right inner thigh. Exhale, hands come down to the mat. And then you're just going to start to pivot. So come up onto the back toes. And you're going to, you know what? No, we're not going to do that yet. You're still going to come up onto the toes. Bend that back right knee a little bit, get some momentum, and then spring yourself up to a forward fold facing the back of the mat. Inhale, come up halfway, hands come to shins. Ardha Uttanasana, gaze is down, spine is straight, belly to spine. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, bend the knees. Start to roll up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale, arms come up overhead. And exhale, bring hands down to heart center. Moving nice and slow, super chill. And just take a moment here. Let's go into Tadasana, mountain pose. So palms are faced forward, palms are down. Gaze is forward. Chin is parallel with the bottom edge of the mat. Back of the head is slightly up and back. And just tune in. Tune in with the rain. Tune in with your intentions that you set. Tune in with the fire, whether it is, and you don't need to turn and look at it. Mine's on the opposite side of my mat. But just bring those flames into the mind's eye. Bring into the mind's eye the rain. And just envision it as it cleanses you. Even if it's not falling directly on you. It's falling on your home, your apartment, wherever you live. It's falling all around you. So just soak it in. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, swan dive forward. You're going to step the right foot back. And then you're going to pivot over to the right side of the mat. And bring hands to heart center. Left elbow is going to be on the inside edge of that left knee. Right toes reach up toward the sky. And you should feel a decent stretch in the inside edge of that left inner thigh, depending on how tight or how flexible that you are. Bring hands down to the mat and shift the weight up and over to the right side of the mat. Hands come into heart center. Hands come back down to the mat, or they can stay where you're at and you can just lift the hips and bring it over and down to the left. Again, bring it up and over to the right. And then once more, up and over to the left. Bring the hands down. Pivot the foot so that it is parallel with the back edge of the mat. And you're going to bring your weight up. So hips are going to reach up. Your left toes are going to reach toward the front of your mat. See if you can line up your front heel with the back right arch. Bring the left hand either to the inside edge of the left foot, to the shin, or to the ankle, and then reach that right hand up towards sky. For Trikonasana, triangle pose. Make sure you're not collapsing here. Make sure it is nice and strong. Bend the left knee. Bring the weight up into Warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. Ooh, make sure it is strong here. Arms are strong. Your gaze is going over your left middle finger. Reverse the warrior. Bring right hand down to right thigh. Left hand stretches up and overhead. Inhale. Exhale, windmill the arms down, and then you're going to bring the hips up to the right, and we're going to take that on the other side. So pivot the foot, so the back left foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. Pivot the right foot so that it's facing the top of the mat as you start to extend the hips up and back. Try to make sure that that right heel is parallel, in line with the left back arch. The right hand can come to the inside edge of the right foot, to the ankle, the shin. Make sure it's strong. Left hand reaches up overhead. Trikonasana. Bend the right knee. And then bring the upper body up for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Right hand is stretched forward. Left hand is stretched back. Gaze is over the right middle finger. Hips and shoulders are in line with one another, and they are facing the long left edge of your mat. Inhale. Bring it into reversed warrior. Right hand stretches up overhead. Left hand goes towards the left thigh. Inhale. Exhale, windmill the arms down. Shift the hips so that they're facing now the front edge of your mat. Step the left, bounce that left back foot and bring it into forward fold. Make sure your hair isn't anywhere near your candles. You don't want your hair to burn. And then again, you're gonna bring the feet, walk them out so that they are a little bit wider than hips width apart. And you're just gonna dangle. Grab opposite elbows and swing left to right. Take another moment to tap in. Tap in with the rain. What does it sound like at wherever you are in the world? How hard or soft is it raining? What does it sound like? Call into mind your intentions that you set forth. Find stillness if you haven't already. And then bring hands down to mat. You're going to pivot the feet so that the toes are facing the outside edges of the mat, heels are turned in. And then you're going to bring hips down toward the mat without bringing them. You're not going to set your bum down. We're just going into a yogi squat malasana. If your heels are up off of the mat, no worries, no shame. You can always place a block or pillow underneath either heel, or you can roll up the back of the mat and sit your heels on the rolled up mat. Hands are in prayer. Elbows are on the inside edges of those thighs. And maybe you're in front of a window right now. Maybe you're not. That's okay if you're not. If you are, see if you can just look out onto the rain and appreciate the rain as it falls. Take comfort in the rain, in the sounds. And if you're not in front of a window, close your eyes and envision that you are. As I said at the beginning of the class, your brain can't tell if it's happening like in physical reality or, and reality is I'm not going to go into that actually, but in your physical experience, or if it's happening in your mind's eye. Brain can't tell the difference. So envision it if you need to. It's weird, it's like kind of sunny over here now, but it's still raining. Like I can see it sprinkling. It's not pouring like it was earlier, but that's okay. I'm enjoying what I've got in front of me. All right, and from here you're gonna bring your hips down to the mat. If you need to help yourself down, you can. If you need to use your hands to bring yourself down, go for it. And we're gonna take a fire log pose, inspired by this log that has my fire resting on it, and it just sounds good. So you're gonna bring your right heel over your right knee. Notice I said heel, and I didn't mean that. I meant right ankle. Right ankle over the left knee, not your right foot, right ankle. And then right knee is gonna be over left ankle. If you need a block, go for it. You can always set that block in between the right knee and the left ankle. Inhale, create length in the spine, and exhale, start to walk yourself into a forward fold. Keep that right foot flexed. Keep the energy moving in the body. You might notice that with a few breaths, you might be able to remove that support between your knee and your ankle. Maybe not. But if you are, go ahead and remove it.
Allow your exhales to take you deeper. Start to bring yourself up off of your legs.
And then you're just gonna switch. So if you had your right leg up on top, you're gonna bring your left leg up on top. Left ankle over right knee, left knee over right ankle. Again, if you need your prop in between your left knee and right ankle, go ahead and use it. Inhale, create length in the spine. Exhale, start to forward fold over the legs.
Keep the feet flexed. See if you can allow your exhales to take you deeper. If you end up no longer needing the prop, of course, you can always take it away. Inhale, start to bring the hands up toward the legs as you bring
The upper body back up. And then come to find a staff pose. So the legs are going to be straight out in front of you. Sit up tall, remove the flesh from underneath the sit bones. If you find that you're sinking, you can always place a block underneath your hips to create a little bit more length, help you sit up straight. Inhale, lift the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold over the legs.
Go ahead and take a curve in the spine and bring the head towards the knees or the shins. Your hands can be on the outside edges of your feet, on the tops of your toes, or on the mat beside your legs. Whatever works best for you, and you might be
A little bit more up off of your legs, and that's okay. Be where you are.
Again, see if you can afford yourself the same non-judgmentalness that you were giving the rain at the beginning of the practice. Inhale, start to come up off of the legs.
Scooch the hips towards the feet. Grab onto the outside edges of the knees and slowly, gently bring yourself down to the mat, one vertebrae at a time. When your spine is fully on the mat, hug the knees in towards the heart. And you can wiggle left to right. Let's take a bridge pose. So bring the feet down to the mat. Make sure the feet are in line with the hips and that the outside edges of your feet are in line with the long edges of your mat. You're going to bring your hands to either side of you, and on an inhale, you're going to start to lift the hips up off of the mat, peeling one vertebrae at a time, and bring the hips toward the sky. You can grab either hand, interlace the fingers underneath your back, and scooch the shoulder blades in towards one another. Make sure knees are going in the same direction as your toes. Take another cycle of breath. And on the exhale, separate the hands and slowly start to bring the back down toward the mat, one vertebrae at a time. If you want, you can either take another bridge or you can take a wheel pose. I'm not going to take a wheel because my spine is fused from my T12 to my L4, and I don't like to take certain back bends. It's not safe for me. If you would like to take one, you just place your hands onto the outside edges of your ears, and then you're going to lift yourself up one vertebrae at a time
into a wheel. I'm not going to demonstrate it. So if you know what you're doing and you want to take a wheel, if it's in your practice, do it. If it's not and you're like, I don't know, then don't worry. Just take another bridge with me. Inhale, start to lift the hips up off of the mat. Knees are in the same direction as the toes. Grab the hands underneath the back, interlace the fingers. And exhale. Start to roll the spine back down, one vertebrae at a time. Let's take a supine twist. So inhale, bring the right knee in, extend the left leg out onto the mat. And then exhale, bring the right leg over toward the left side of the mat as you reach your right hand out to the side. You can take it into a straight half T, or you can bend the elbow and make a goalpost with that right arm. Goalposts are a cactus, depending on how you want to look at it. Try to keep that right shoulder blade down on the mat, and you can drop the gaze toward the right hand. Inhale, bring the right knee back to center, unwind. Take an inhale. Exhale, bring left knee in. Bring right leg back long onto the mat. Take another inhale. And exhale, take a twist over to the left. Bring left knee over to the right. Extend the left arm out into a T or a goalpost, and gaze drops out to the left. Keep the left shoulder blade down on the mat. Inhale, bring left knee back to center, unwind, untwist. Hug both knees in. And take any last poses you would like. If you want to take a happy baby, go for it. Maybe you want to take an inversion. Maybe do legs up the wall, something like that. Actually, legs up the wall sounds really nice. So I'm going to do a happy baby first. If you want to join me, just grab onto the outside edges of the feet. If you can't quite reach, grab onto the ankles or the shins and bring the knees toward the outside edges of the armpits. And you can rock side to side. You can play with opening one leg out to straight and then the other, possibly both. Maybe you're like, no, I don't like that, and that's cool too. And then we're going to start to make our way into Shavasana. So bring the knees back into center. You can hug them in. And you've got options here. So you can either bring the legs long out into corpse pose, bring arms to either side, palms face up, bring shoulder blades in toward one another. Or you can take a, what's it called? Legs up the wall. And actually, you know, my soul is calling for this, so I'm gonna squeeze in one last pose. If you want to join me, you can. If you're like, girl, I was already ready for Shavasana, then that's okay. But I'm gonna listen to my soul. So if you want to do this last pose, go for it. It's not strenuous at all. You just put your hands underneath your bum. Legs are out long on the mat. Hug your shoulders, your elbows as close into you as you can. Start to bend the shoulders as you bring the upper body up. Okay, so you're going to be resting on those elbows. Elbows are parallel with one another and with the long edges of the mat. Head is up, and then slowly, gently start to bring the head back into a fish pose. So the head slowly, gently, you're not flinging around the head or the neck. We're moving slow and gentle, opening up the heart, opening up the throat. Fantastic for the heart and throat chakras. Inhale, bring the head up slowly, very gently, and then Bring the elbows out from underneath you as you slowly make your way down to the mat. And again, you've got two options for Shavasana. You can stay in traditional Shavasana, corpse pose, legs out, toes out, heels in, palms up, arms out to the sides, eyes closed, or you can take legs up the wall. And if you don't have a wall, you can just put your legs up into the air like so. You can always have a micro bend in the knees if that feels good for you. And if you want, you can put your pillow underneath your hips if you're doing legs up into the air. And I think I'm going to do this version today. Even though I got a wall, I'm doing it for all of you who don't have a wall. It's just as effective. There's also an option where you can bring a chair up to your bum here and just fold your legs, your calves over the chair. Yogi's choice. And regardless of which pose or variation you are in, go ahead and release the controlled breath. And tune in with what we've been checking in with this entire time. Bring your attention to the rain. Notice if you can hear the sounds of the rain. Maybe the rain has gotten stronger where you live. Maybe the rain has stopped. Maybe it's slowed, or maybe it's still going steady. Either way, just notice what it's doing. Notice any sounds you can hear. Maybe you're in Arizona, around where I live, and there's creosote bushes, and maybe you've got the window open and you can smell the creosote. And if you're like, what the heck is that? Don't worry about it. It's just a plant here in Arizona that makes this amazing smell whenever it rains. Like absolutely delicious, amazing smell. It's the smell of the desert when it rains, and I love it. But maybe you don't have that. Maybe you smell something different. Maybe the rain has a unique scent to you. Maybe you can't smell it because all the windows are closed. That's okay. Just notice what you can smell. Maybe you've got a scented candle. One of my candles is dragon's blood, and it smells amazing. It's been super grounding throughout this entire practice for me. And then one last time, just check in with any intentions that you have. And now, just let yourself sink into your mat. You don't need to direct your attention anywhere. If you want, you can let the mind go wherever it wants. Maybe you want to bring your attention back to the rain, and that's cool. But maybe you're good. Maybe you're like, I just want to let my brain do whatever it wants. Go for it. If you want to stay in Shavasana longer, you are more than welcome to do so. But if you are ready to move out of the pose, out of the practice, and on with your day, and start to deepen the breath,
If you've got your legs up the wall or up in the air, slowly, gently start to bring them down, bending the knees, pushing yourself out from the wall so you can make room for your legs if you've got the legs up the wall. If you've got a prop underneath the hips, go ahead and remove the prop. And now everybody on the next inhale, reach the arms and the legs out in either direction. Getting a big stretch in the body. On your next exhale, turn over onto one side, resting the head onto the lower arm. On your next exhale, keeping the eyes closed, start to gently and slowly push yourself up off of the mat and come to find a cross-legged seated position, Sukhasana. And then keeping the eyes closed, we're going to circle the arms up overhead on the inhale, and on an exhale, we're going to bring the hands down in prayer through to heart center as we chant one big loud Om. And I want you to focus on the vibrations that you feel in your body as you chant that Om. All right, let's do it together. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, Om it down. Bring your chin to your chest, third eye to fingertips, and bow to yourself, thanking yourself for prioritizing yourself, your health, your healing, and your well-being. And then bow your third eye down to the ground and thank Mother Earth Gaia for all of her beautiful creations, for allowing you to thrive off of her energy and her resources, for blessing you and your space and your home with the rain. And then thank any higher powers that you have, Source, Spirit, God, Buddha, Krishna, Allah, whomever. And then bring your upper body back up. And when you feel ready, gently, slowly, open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed this practice, this rainy day chill yoga practice. Hopefully you're still feeling super chill, super comfy, super cozy. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I will see you next time. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, and if you want to like tune into what I'm doing, if you're curious about what I'm doing, you can always find me on Instagram at Alicia Hurley. And if you would like to work with me one-on-one, I do have a coaching program specifically for healing trauma, really working on releasing trauma from the energetic system. We also work on creating some healthy coping skills. So we focus on mindfulness, on taking control of the mind so that the mind isn't controlling you, so that intensive and intrusive and overthinking thoughts aren't overpowering you, and you start to learn how to use your mind as a tool. We also focus on emotions and getting to know our emotions and befriend our emotions. This is great if you experience emotions on a really intense level where sometimes maybe you feel like your emotions are actually in the driver's seat instead of you. So again, it's learning how to use your emotions as tools, how to harness them, how to learn what they are trying to tell you, how to process them in healthy ways so that they don't get stuck and trapped in the body. And you also learn how to navigate distress and crisis with
ease, with effectiveness, so that you stay in alignment with who you really are at your core, with your goals, with your values, and in a way that honors you. And then we also work on interpersonal effectiveness. We work on the relationships that you have in your life, in being able to advocate for yourself, stand up for yourself, being able to get your needs met, while maintaining self-respect. And so we talk about walking away from relationships that maybe you've outgrown, that maybe aren't serving you, that are potentially harmful to you, and maintaining and building relationships that are meant for you, that are in your greatest and highest good, and they're healthy, they're mutual, they are nurturing. And so if this is of interest to you, and you would, oh, one more thing, we also focus on spirituality throughout the course too, and really learning how to use spirituality as a tool and as a foundation for your healing and your well-being. So if this is of interest of you, feel free to send me an email. You can look at the description below the video. It'll have some information on how to get in contact with me. Anyway, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.